The Clarke County Eagles in week 6 high school football action. They host another tough test in Catoctin out of the state of Maryland after a bye week. Now joining me, the head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs. And coach, just evaluating your last matchup against Warren County, getting the win, some stuff you would have liked to work on a little bit more. Going into a tough test to Catoctin this week, how do you think the bye week sort of went for your Eagles going into a game week? Some rest, preparation, and just getting set for another tough matchup. How do you think everything's been going up until this point in the bye week in your mind?
Well, I mean, we really actually the bye couldn't have come at a better time. We had a handful of guys that got relatively dinged up a little bit against Warren County, and to be quite honest with you, I mean, they could have played last Friday, but they would not have been 100%. So we desperately needed to kind of get some guys healthy, and we used last week as an opportunity. We set those guys pretty much all week long on the mental approach, and we kept all the kids out of pads. We went shells and just did a lot of mental review, and to be quite honest with you, just worked on some basic stuff and did a laid back approach, just because the first 40% of the season there, the first 4 weeks, they were a grind, man, and we were happy to get where we were at, but we had to back off of the kids and try to basically revamp and get ready for this last stretch run, and then hopefully get ready for the playoffs.
Take me through in your mind what really helps when you're scaling back during a bye week, going back to sort of the basics, not like your players don't know about the basics already, but just going back to more simple stuff. Do you think that helps in a way in terms of correcting the small little mistakes so they don't turn into any bigger mistakes?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of part of it as well, too. And I think it's also good when you have that bye mid-season, like pretty much ours is, being after week 4. It also gives everybody a chance to catch their breath because, with the game of football, it's the competitive, early on in the week, you're still recovering, you're putting game plans in, you're doing so, and then you're ramping up. And then Friday, it's everything full speed ahead. And I think last week, and just like any other bye week, you try to take care of some small things. You try to, correct some things that probably going on for quite some time, or maybe during the last game. And I'm hoping we were able to do that. But also, too, anytime you have a bye week, and you have to have great leadership with your student athletes, because they don't have anything to look forward to. There's no game at the end of the week. So when you've got a full entire week, you've got to have great kids and great leadership, so that it does not turn into something that no coaches want, where it's a lackadaisical attitude. And we certainly didn't have that. We've got great kids. So we were able to get what we needed in, and now we're back to game week.
So looking at Catoctin, you traveled up to face them this year. What are maybe some of the similarities you see out of them this year, and maybe some of the differences, and just what are you looking for in this matchup?
Well, first and foremost, last year's game with Catoctin was a great high school football game. We were fortunate enough to get the win there, but those guys ended up going on a roll after that, and I think they ended up going to either the state quarterfinals or the state semifinals in the state of Maryland for their classification. So it's a really, really good football program, and Coach Rich and those guys do an outstanding job. And him and I we stay in touch throughout the year. I've got the ultimate respect for how they do things and the program that those guys run. So there's no question in my mind that this Friday night is going to be another one of those type of games where it's going to be a great high school football game, a great experience for everybody. And there are similarities from last year. They're big, they're physical, they're athletic. So we certainly have our hands full without a doubt, and they're coached well. I mean, those guys do a great job with those kids.
You heard it from the head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs, after a bye week, preparing this week on Friday night as Clarke hosts Catoctin out of Maryland. As always, Coach Casey Childs of the Clarke County Eagles. Coach, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Appreciate having me.